Environmental issues and racial justice issues were commonplace in public debate for decades, though never paired as issues for national discussion. In 1982, Benjamin F. Davis, senior advisor to the Black Alliance for Educational Options, first used the term environmental racism in forums about toxic waste landfills which occurred predominantly near homes, schools, and workplaces in communities of people of color. The two issues became irrevocably paired. Economic exploitation, racial oppression, devaluation of human life, and the natural environment created institutionalized discrimination that evolved into environmental racism. Environmental racism is a policy, practice, or directive that differentially affects or disadvantages individuals, groups, or communities based on race or color and is reinforced by government, legal, economic, political, and military institutions. The chart demonstrates the community demographics within given distances from Harrisonburg, PA, incinerator and clearly reveals the impact of industrialization and environmental racism on people of color who lack the resources to move. Imagine this in towns and cities across America. The picture changes very little. The Environmental Protection Agency lists the 6 most prominent environmental hazards as lead, found in pre-1970 public housing and low income. Waste sites, landfills, incinerators, and hazardous waste treatment facilities routinely built near low-income and minority populations. Air pollution. Communities failing to meet at least one of EPA's ambient air quality standards are 65% of African American, 80% Hispanic American. Pesticides. People of color provide 90% of the 2 million hired farm workers in the United States. Wastewater from city sewers divert overflow into local rivers and streams during storms. Wastewater from agricultural runoff includes fertilizers, pesticides, and concentration of animal waste ruins streams and rivers. Common to all predominant populations of people of color in poverty. The chemical waste dumped between Baton Rouge and New Orleans that created Cancer Alley for a population that is 84% African American. The nuclear power plant disposes its waste on the reservation of Dakota Indians near Prairie Island, Minnesota. The power plant makes $8.5 million a year while the Dakotas die from cancer. U.S.-Mexico border factories produce cheaper American goods and dump waste in Latino communities, creating health problems. Why is this environmental racism? Living downwind of factories, downstream of toxic dumping, or in areas without access to fresh and healthy foods, these communities experience higher rates of disease such as cancer, birth defects, asthma, and lead to exposure. Their lack of resources and the power to protect their communities severely limits their ability to protect their families. Environmental racism is an embedded process of capitalism. People of color are victims of environmental racism. Environmental racism stretches beyond the borders of the United States, a conflict between the developed nations seeking and adding to their national wealth and the third world nation struggling to survive. Some facts to ponder. Over 1.3 billion individuals worldwide live in unsafe and unhealthy physical environments. Environmental factors such as water pollution and drought-driven scarcity are responsible for half the world's malnutrition. Global warming affects cities that currently exceed air pollution qualities. People of color are concentrated in these cities. What can we do when more than 120 national constitutions guarantee environmental protection, yet enforcement remains an issue? The connections between poverty and damage to the natural environment demonstrate a need for environmental justice. To address the issues of unequal protection, differential enforcement, and disparate treatment received by the poor and the people of color, we can take action to build a stronger environmental justice movement in the United States and develop strategic international alliances. Provide the victims of these environmental injustices adequate amends and resolutions. Foster support for the United Nations and grassroots environmental justice organization in other countries. Environmental justice is addressing the issues of poverty and pollution together, and the global community ensures sustainable development into the future.